This is Listening with Franklin Livingston, and our guest is Tiffany Burk.
So friends, today we have Tiffany Burks. Tiffany lives in Connecticut. She's originally from Iowa, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's a lot to listen to. So welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
how's the ride?
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, finally we are having spring / summerish
Yes.
vibes. It has been a long winter.
The rain had been, yes, very daunting, but it's very nice to have the sunshine today.
Yeah.
A couple of days.
Absolutely. So it's your day off, and you work Monday through Friday.
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
work part-time as of now.
And you work with a particular kind of children.
Yes.
So I'd love to start us off by listening to what you do and why is it so meaningful to you?
Okay. I work currently in the school system where I live, and I have been there for 10 years now. I'm a special ed one-on-one paraprofessional. I've worked with a variety of children with special needs. I've worked with kids with special needs since I actually was here in Connecticut in 1990 through 97. That's how my journey kind of started, with a child that I was nannying for. And
So you moved to Connecticut to nanny a child?
yes,
Wow.
right out of high school, a few months out of high school. I wasn't even 18 when I moved. So I spent my 18th birthday here with the family that I moved in with. And I loved being here. I was with the family in Norwalk for 5 years until they moved actually to the Midwest.
Oh, wow. They were from there originally?
They were from this area originally, from New York.
But they fell in love with the Midwest because of you?
No, they actually moved for, if I recall correctly, for their child, to have more things for them and for a job at the time. So they moved to Minnesota, and I had to continue here on my own, which I loved being in this area. So I moved to Stamford, and I was on my own here in Stamford for 2 years. And then I
Stanford just is, for those of us who don't know, outside New York City, and for you, 15 minutes train ride. So great.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a switch. New York, Stanford is also more like the same fast-paced life versus Iowa.
very different.
And which part of Iowa, by the way?
Southwestern part of Iowa, very small town.
Which other state is close by?
Nebraska.
Okay.
When we go back and forth home, we go into Omaha majority of the time just because it's closer. But very small town, around 500 people, called Vale, Iowa. So that's where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So how was it like growing up in that kind of environment, people knowing each other, and how many, I don't know how many stop signs, stop lights you had there?
We had no police officers in our town.
You never needed one?
We would have state patrol come through once in a while, cruise through town, but no permanent police or presence on a daily basis.
Right.
We had 3 to 4 bars, which are also restaurants in small town Iowa. Your family would go to the bar restaurant to eat, on the weekends. It wasn't uncommon to see, the kids there as well, which is very different from here.
I have only
Post
heard
office.
that in Mexican culture that kids go to restaurants / bars or it depends. But personally, I haven't really experienced it.
We don't have the access to the large restaurants
Hmm.
and even shopping malls, stores that we do here on the East Coast.
Mm.
So that's where, families would go. We had a very small convenience store with gas, and that's pretty much it.
And everybody knew everybody.
Yes.
In terms of keeping an eye and being there for each other, was there that kind of sense, or was it still like, yeah, where are you? Where are you? I have more money, or I have more cattle, or I have more beer, or whatever. I don't know yet.
Um, People watched out for one another, of course. And yes, everybody knew everyone, which was a good thing. And then it also came with its negative side as well. Um, when I think of small town Iowa, you left home in the morning as a kid and you would come home when it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a cell phone to check in.
Right.
You'd be around town with friends, playing, hanging out, being at each other's houses, staying for lunch, staying for dinner sometimes, and nobody worried about anyone having anything go wrong while your kids were out and about. So that was very nice growing up in that community.
Cool.
Yes.
So, my dear editor, I don't have someone behind the camera, so I have to go and check the feed. We can use it here. This is also bought from Timo. It has a thing, which I don't think locally made things have that. So this will tell you how you were appearing on the camera if you are interested.
Okay.
Definitely looking nice because I decided to wear a shitty thing today. And I forgot the colors of the couch, same as my outfit. All right. Not a good decision. So, when you were growing up, what was the moral values and belief system at home? Was it a very Christian town? Was religion a part of the life in the community or not? How did, since there was no police, I'm assuming there were very few fights or other stuff going around. So how did people develop that idea to live peacefully?
Growing up, we had a Catholic church in town. We had a Lutheran church. That particular church had turned over a few times growing up, but the Catholic church was always there. I attended Catholic school from first grade through eighth grade.
How's that? Sisters and mothers and like very strict or not?
Yes. The old school stories of nuns, tapping on your desks with rulers, and
I'm assuming that didn't happen.
Well, a few times,
Okay.
not on the desks, I said, but it was very it was very much a part of the community growing up. My sister did not have to attend Catholic school as long as I did, which sometimes.
Why?
I'm not quite sure.
No, was it? The reason I'm saying, were there other schools?
There were.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so it
there
wasn't
was.
that was
Right.
the only school.
There was the public school system, which consisted of 3 small towns together, Arcadia, Westside, and Vale, all about the same size, around the 500 population mark. So the 3 towns combined together made up a school system called Arweva, the first few letters of each of the towns. So that was the public school system. And then there was the Catholic school, which the elementary was in Vale, where I grew up. And then the older grades were in Arcadia, where I went through 8th grade. And then I went back to the public school myself, 9th through 12th. Other kids continued on to the high school in the larger town called Carroll, Iowa. There was a large Catholic school there. Um, but I continued my education, the upper years, at the public school.
So kids who went to a Catholic school versus a public school, was there a clear difference between their behavior, trends, habits, choices, or it was more influenced by the like mainline culture?
Growing up and thinking about it now, I felt like everybody saw each other pretty equally. I don't think that it was anyone was looked at because of whether they went to Catholic school, whether they went to the public school. There may have been some uh, some people that may have looked at continuing through the Catholic school as having a little bit more money financially, because some of the families did have to pay to go to the Catholic school, where the public school was free. But I personally didn't see any, segregation because of where you went to school. It just was where you went and what you did.
No, the reason I'm asking is I used to work in a hotel in a small town, which is not that small, as I mentioned earlier, the name too. And mostly people who worked in housekeeping were young mothers. And I don't know, they were 16 or 18, really, really young. And during the breaks, they used to smoke. And for me, it was difficult to socialize with them. And I finally asked someone. And the answer was, and this was a collective answer because they used to smoke standing outside the facility.
Okay.
And what I heard from them, they said smoking, getting pregnant, getting into drugs was something they learned during the high school at a public school. And so I developed an assumption that, oh my God, so it's not a good place to be at because you'll develop these bad habits or your moral structure might get influenced by a different kind of belief system. So that's why I asked that question that if somebody went to religious school, they'd think, oh my God, they're so put together, they're well behaved, they're making wise choices. Or no, it was more like, oh, we live in this town, we do this thing.
Where I was, everybody kind of came together. There was, of course, young teenage moms. Yes, there were kids, teenagers who were into drugs. I went to lots of parties, and alcohol was very, very prevalent in the circles that I was in. I did not see a lot of drugs myself, but our towns were very small. So I did not personally see a lot of that, but the alcohol was very prevalent when I was growing up. We unfortunately lost a lot of classmates to alcohol situations, accidents, and whatnot. So for me, the alcohol was more prevalent.
And do you think it's different now, or it's
I do
culture the
see
same?
that I do see that there are more drugs, more drug use. Unfortunately, because of it being a farming community, a lot of things that are used in drug making you get from farms. There's a lot of the
So it has gotten
chemicals.
worse, what I'm hearing.
I feel that it has, absolutely. I feel like it has.
Because see, my assumption was people have more awareness about health and well-being. We have social media, everybody using devices, so there might be more this kind of ongoing learning that what's good for you, what's not. So,
I did not raise my children in the Midwest, so I have been removed from that for quite some time. So I can't necessarily speak to how families have encountered that in the past 20 years and raising their kids. I can speak to the years that I was there.
right.
And, but I do see a lot of effects from family members with the drug use and availability that has been a tremendous impact on family members personally. So for me, that seems like it's more prevalent and more easily accessible in the past 20 years since I have left Iowa.
So, how are you raised? And your parents, how was the environment? Strict, not friendly? What was going on there?
I grew up with a younger sister. My father was a cross country truck driver,
Oh, yeah.
so he was gone a lot of time. Most times he would be home Saturday and Sunday, maybe only Sunday, depending on where his travels took him. My mom was at home with us, and she worked full time as well. I grew up in a family of alcoholics, so that did affect my sister and I as we grew up. But we grew up in a very loving family. Family was very, very important. We had aunts, uncles, cousins who lived close, grandparents. So family time was very important. Holidays and whatnot with family. But there was that piece that was also dysfunctional. As I know now, at the time growing up, I didn't, you don't know different a lot of times than what your environment is and that you're in.
Let me check the feed. 19 minutes, perfect. So now, as you look back, you use this term dysfunctional. It's a very strong word. It just because you think your dad wasn't in a career that he was 24/7 available to you guys, and if say he was just doing a job from home, what would have been different?
I don't know if it would have been because alcoholism is a disease, and it was very prevalent through our close family. When mom and dad were home on the weekends, that was their activities were based around being out. There's not a lot of options for places to go, things to do in small town Iowa. Unfortunately, when I grew up, we had the roller skating rink as kids, so that was a lot of what we did as children, and getting together with friends and family, playing cards, playing dice, and having cocktails, whether at home or whether at a bar. So I'm not sure if both parents were in the home consistently. I don't know if it would have been any different. Um,
Something, I want to share. This wasn't our topic because she is already working in a very gratifying profession. But since we just started this topic, I still remember uh, there was a pastor guy in Iowa, okay? In a very, in his own way, hip because he used to think he's from California. And now, as I grew mature and learn more, I understand if somebody says that I'm from New York, doesn't mean anything because New York is vast. There's a really rural and out there New York, like West California. The whole California doesn't mean LA.
correct.
But a lot of people don't know.
Correct.
So I didn't know that. And I think he was in his 50s, wealthy guy. And he asked me, what do you like to drink with pizza? And I don't know what dumb answer I gave. And he was like, nah, it should always be with chilled beer. Do you drink chilled beer or whatever? And I was really young. I felt maybe I should say yes. And now, one thing which I would say I'm really thankful and blessed that I gained confidence to just say when I walk into a restaurant, no, I'm not even water. I know that, especially Granite and these wealthy places, waiters would kind of like, you read, I know it's a bad thing to see their eyes and all that. And because of the ethnic difference, they might think, oh, maybe they're third world, hick or poor. I don't know. But I have learned this. A lot of people, WASPs, young females who are professional, like you get a nice job and then you finance a mini RAV4 or whatever those guys, they would always say, oh, I drink a glass of wine to unwind.
I've heard, yes.
And in my experience, some of them, not all of them, were borderline alcoholics because when a thing begins to control you, you use the term disease, right? And this is the first time I ever heard somebody saying that. But it is a disease. I used to use more like what's the word, addiction. So I have a friend, and hopefully he'll run the show too. He's a retired school counselor, a great guy, a great actor, a great father. The only weakness he had was drinking problem. And he goes to a group now. He's sober for the past 3 years. So whatever, like I think maximum I went in the past 2 or 3 days, so 2 or 3 years, if I ever consumed alcohol, was 3 times a year. And I am okay, but it took me probably, I want to say, 15 years to get there where I could be okay sitting with people and say, I do need to. Actually, I met somebody and it was sort of, I don't know, it was a social connection slash business type, not really business, but getting to know type meetup. I met somebody in Derry.
Okay.
And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have lunch, simple lunch. And I was a few minutes late and the person was there. And I said, oh, what did you order? And she said, she gave me his name. And her special was it's a cool thing. And one of the waiters came and she asked me, I said, do you have a non-alcoholic beer? So it was a very awkward interaction. I don't know why, because some people just think it's a cool thing if you drink. Okay, you can drink wine, but there's a grape juice type wine. You don't have to have an alcohol in it.
Right.
Does that make you feel cool or I don't know what other word, stylish or upscale? Unfortunately, I have seen that a lot of people will judge you or view you a little lower if you say that. I don't know if that was part of the culture there, because you mentioned that was people were doing, or they didn't know better. It was like if you go to a bar, every drink you have has to have an alcohol, and there's nothing you can't say. Hey, can I have a mango juice? Yeah.
I never thought of drinking as when I was younger as cool or stylish, or in our environment, it was that's what our families did for relaxation.
It was a
and
norm.
for entertainment.
Right.
While you connected with friends and family, and while you, like I said, played cards and dice, it was just a part of our culture, for lack of a better
Right,
word,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because
That ends up becoming a norm that you grow up with and you keep doing it. And it's like me wearing this brown over brown. So bad. so, so, right. It's just like coffee or whatever we consume in the morning,
Correct.
right? And it ends up becoming, and now a lot of people are changing and they say, I can really be, oh, no, I just drink tea. And then some people, I know my best friend's dad switched to green tea.
yes,
And I think he turned 50 or he's somewhere there, 49, 50. And went to doctors, told him something, and then he just switched to green tea. And he lost weight. He is so slim now. And he has these three young adults who are sort of on dad's meal plan, getting there. So, of course, he has to be really careful, and he has a house and he runs businesses. So,
And you're
green tea,
intro-
I was like, it's great. But I tried it twice and I was like, not for me.
so you're attributing the weight loss and healthiness to the green tea.
That's what I'm assuming. Unless he might have made other changes in his dietary stuff too.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, but I only thought maybe that's the green tea version. He looks younger than me now.
Green tea, yes, I've heard is very good for you. It's healthy, and I have heard that it's good for weight loss. But I've also heard there's a million things.
Yeah. Right.
So for me, I think it would be what works, and maybe that's what's working for him.
No, I think you're right. Just when I said that, sometimes when you grow up in a culture or a household where there's no outside information, so you're going to stick to the same thing.
Correct.
It's like, it's just a funny story. I think I was driving to Nebraska because I mentioned I went to Omaha. Right?
Yes.
And I think it was Nebraska or somewhere. And you go through the itty bitty towns. Especially if you try to take those mini, like Highway 20, for example. I would take Highway 20 from Chicago
Yes.
to Iowa, so I don't have to pay $22 in tolls
Correct.
on I-80.
I've taken 20. Yes.
So, those itty bitty towns, there's only one store, and that's the diner and everything. So I remember I passed that, stopped, and we had breakfast or something, and I asked for coffee. And then I asked for a latte. And they looked at me as if I came from Mars.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay, no. And then I asked for creamer and sugar, and that was also a stretch. I remember going to a community meeting of sort, and people were very hospitable. They make brownies and cookies.
Yes.
Ladies make at home. They brought that, and there was a flask. I don't know what they call, but a large flask you tap and coffee comes out. And I asked for cream or something, and they were feeling bad. And I was feeling bad. Why did I ask that? Because that's not the trend, or was not. I'm also talking about 12 years ago. And things might have changed, but still, I think US, the way I have seen it being changed after a lot of international employees that now work for Google, even John Deere. Actually.
Yes.
Back
John Deere is very big in
Yeah.
our community.
Yeah.
Very big.
And but I think if we just go back, and my flashbacks, it was very different. Within a decade, I think things have changed a lot.
Things have changed drastically in the 20 years that our family has been gone. Absolutely. Lattes. There are stores now that little places where you can get your coffees
Right,
and
yeah.
your lattes and
Yeah.
um, and yes, if you need the creamer, it comes in the little plastic cup.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah. I think also I was somehow connected mostly with people who were, oh God, I think the youngest might be in 60s. So just imagine my demographics were 60s to 80s. And
When you were in Iowa.
yeah. So when you, and those people who want to go to Billington, it's one of their favorite places. And what is that blue one? IHOP.
Oh,
Blue one.
we
And
did not have IHOP where I was from. We
Hmm.
were lucky to have, the hometown cafe.
I still remember I went to IHOP and one of my friends, he's a retired engineer, John, and with breakfast. His sister passed away, and his brother-in-law flew in from Seattle. This gentleman was a higher up, I forgot. Some big company. I even forgot right now. And we went for breakfast and all, and on IHOP, and I thought they would know. And the waitress asked me what you'd like to drink with it, and I said, oh, chocolate mocha is fine. And when she brought that, it was black coffee, and she probably added chocolate in it. But I did not say anything because I knew there was a guest side to be really respectful of him. But I was like, all right. I mean, she tried to be creative.
Right.
So things, I think, began to shift when Target opened in that particular town, Target, there was a new Target and it had Starbucks.
Yes.
So, sometimes like people, okay, now I know what Frappuccino is or Cappuccino is and all these things.
Yes. Starbucks is in one of the grocery stores, the local Hy-Vee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hy-Vee is the
Yes. So
way to where we used to go to grocery shop. And Hy-Vee had a gas station too.
yes, this one, yes, they now have them as well.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Now I'm talking about 2014, 15 was the latest I was there.
Okay.
And it's not now, it's like old, I'm getting old. So yeah, guys, it's been a long time. But when I was talking about working in that hotel and all that, that's like 10 years back. And that's why I was saying that these very, very young people, 16, 18, and I don't know what is going on.
Very, very prevalent.
Mm.
I have majority of the kids that I graduated with, my classmates, are grandparents. The majority of them out of high school, married right away, and had children. I'm kind of on the later end. I wasn't married until 26, so I was out of the norm.
Still, that's way earlier than the East Coast.
Absolutely.
Way earlier.
Absolutely.
But I remember, yeah, I think the average age, I remember for guys was between 21 and 23.
Very, very different than here. Yes.
No one wants to commit here, like, now, bro. Because people fear, there's a lot of legal aspects of getting married.
And I have an older daughter, my daughter who's 24. I worry a lot about her financially, trying to, in this area, to get married, start a family, even own a home. Very, very difficult and concerning as a parent for her, and knowing that that's what she wants, and wondering when that will be there for her.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is difficult, and as you say, the commitment.
I think the people
Right.
I know, and especially this is coming from more like a male perspective, their biggest fear is alimony or giving away the house and becoming homeless because of the way the system is. I just recently had a friend whose marriage ended after 2 or 3 years. And all he talked about, there was nothing. So we went, and he moved back to New York City after they moved to Louisiana. After
Okay.
that, after getting married, the same idea, you'll have a house and then you'll have a yard and all that stuff. And, but instead of like talking about emotional pain and all that, it was all about money, which is so sad. That why should people, if you want to marry somebody, why should you think like, oh my God, financial side of it, tax side of it? And I wish there was a better solution, but it's a fear. And I don't
Absolutely.
know from female perspective, but I'm assuming it's a fear of, and then there's a taboo. We'll eventually get into that too. And I think still there is, I'm surprised because just recently I had a talk about this taboo. Uh, but speaking of taboo, was alcoholism considered a bad thing, a taboo? Like somebody, I don't know here, but I've seen in London people on the weekends, they can't even walk and they're just like kicking these lampposts and all that. So if that kind of thing happened, people look down or people like, oh my God, that's so much fun.
Um, I don't see it as so much fun.
No, in general,
But
when you were growing
when
up.
I was growing up, um, I didn't necessarily. Oh, I can't say. I was gonna say I can't necessarily say that I remember seeing people stumbling around and oh, this is cool. But my parents, grandparents, um, people who they knew would come over. We've had people fall downstairs. I remember that very well, falling down a huge flight of stairs in our home and waking up and having random people on our couch outside my bedroom and unfortunately being woke up as a teenager because in the middle of the night they wanted someone to play cards with and here I am, I need to go to school in the morning. It wasn't looked down upon, it wasn't um, made to look glamorous. And there's also a huge range of alcoholism.
Mhm.
There's functioning alcoholics who you can have get stone drunk every night, but you get up and you go to work in the morning and the process just goes on every day. There are the drunks who wake up in the morning and drink all day and still go to work.
Mhm.
So there are drinkers and alcoholics who drink socially. I mean, it's like and as I said, I called it a disease because there are so many different aspects of it, just like there is with a disease like cancer, or I feel mental illnesses are a disease and not just a thing. It's not, I see alcoholism as a disease like I view
Mhm.
any other thing that you could necessarily be diagnosed with.
No, I think it's a very, very important topic, and I really appreciate you using that term. I have had a very close friend. He was very talented, and he did almost everything, like starting from singing to writing and acting. He was very influential. Like somebody talked about him in his book. He was that influential. His drinking, he used to drink. So he was a guy. He would start because I know when he used to work on this computers and all, and he would just drink, and he was able to do everything being drunk.
Right.
But I think within 3 or 4 years, this is what I saw, experienced. His health declined
Absolutely.
in physical health, although he used to work out while working because he used to work from home and where he had his dumbbells and all that. His physical health declined. He had a very painful breakup after several years, and I think they were together 7, 8 years and very close to getting married. I don't know if this is effective, but I know that his voice and anger and all those things used to show up because when you go grab a bite to eat or whatever, and if somebody's high, I don't know what you call high, but I mean your senses are a little different, so you act different. You could be rowdy, you could be a bit aggressive,
Absolutely.
you know.
Or you could be the happy drunk. You could be, they're like
Laughters and all.
same thing with, I don't know, people who do hard drugs. It affects everybody differently, and it absolutely affects your relationships, your family, your friendships.
To the point, something I noticed, and I'm not giving the name, but I have heard from other people too. So he developed a particular uh, body odor, or
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, so I did not know that. That also comes with it. To the point where it was very difficult to share space with him, and then I think he just became dysfunctional. The term you used, and he moved out of New York City, and we probably it's been 4 years. We don't even communicate because whenever we talk, I hear us complaining, but I don't think he ever tried to fix that. There was a time I was in a better position in my life, and I offered him that he can take maybe 3 months off go to Asia because there are a lot of Asian countries. They have programs to just keep you in simple life to do meditation and yoga and work on yourself and kind of rehabilitation,
Right.
but affordable, more Eastern style. But again, a person has to say yes. You can't force. That's the sad reality.
Absolutely.
It's like you have a disease, unless you go to a doctor and you commit to taking those medications, nothing can help you.
Absolutely. My mother, um, drinking affected our family, ended in divorce with my father. But after some time, she made the choice that it was destroying her life and affected her relationships with my sister and I. And she went to rehab, and she had been sober before she passed away 27-ish years. So was very, very proud of her for that. Very proud. Relationship, changed with my sister and I. Even my father, who she was married to, they came back together when he unfortunately became ill with cancer, and still cared about one another, and so fixed that relationship, before he passed. So you're absolutely right. You cannot force it upon anyone. We have tried. I have friends that have tried forcing family members, friends, and you're right, it does not work unless the person is 100% ready. And even then, it doesn't always work.
Right, yeah.
There relapses absolutely can happen. But both my mom and my grandfather had been sober for a number of years before their passing, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It
It
is.
was wonderful.